And then when did you come out here?
I came out here in 2018 when I got married. Otherwise, I would have never come out. I wouldn't have lived here if it wasn't for that.
And where'd you guys get married again?
We got married in New York City in a courthouse. And then we got married had a wedding a year later.
And where was the wedding?
South Carolina.
And then where did you guys go for your honeymoon?
We did a honeymoon when we got married, so like a year before, and then we went on a honeymoon to Italy, Amalfi. Our wedding was honestly really, really fun. We had a great time. It was like all of our friends and family, and it was beautiful.
And how old were you when you got married?
I was 21.
What?
So we got married when I was 21, like legally, and then I turned 22 like 2 months later. And then when we had my wedding, I was about to turn 23.
Got it.
Children.
Very
young.
Children.
Yeah.
But
pretty crazy.
Worked out.
Yeah. Here we are.
Here you are.
Yeah.
The internet has long been described as a living archive of emotion, and observers noted that few stories have been dissected as intensely as the years-long narrative involving Justin Bieber, Selena Gomez, and Hailey Bieber, explaining that what once relied on blurry paparazzi shots and speculation has now evolved into a constant stream of analysis, especially after Justin reportedly stated that despite his past mistakes, marrying Hailey was the best decision of his life, a comment that quickly spread and reignited debates across a divided fan base that has remained emotionally invested since the early 2010s, with many reactions surfacing almost instantly as audiences revisited old memories while weighing them against present realities. And it was said that as praise for his marriage circulated, a lingering question continued to dominate comment sections everywhere, with users asking what Selena represented in that journey, whether that chapter should be dismissed or understood differently. And those following the situation pointed out that reactions were not just emotional, but deeply tied to how fans had built narratives over time, as some argued that Justin's words highlighted growth while others interpreted them as a subtle shift away from a past they once considered defining. And as the discussion intensified, commentators described how attention turned toward the meaning behind his phrasing, noting that calling a partner the best thing suggests gratitude rooted in stability, support, and long-term partnership. And it was widely shared that Hailey had been present during some of Justin's most challenging periods, including health struggles and major lifestyle changes, which many believed reinforced the idea of her being a grounding presence in his life, while at the same time, those reflecting on earlier years emphasized that the dynamic with Selena had been marked by a completely different energy, one characterized by intensity and emotional highs that captured global attention, and reports recalled how that relationship unfolded under constant scrutiny, with grand romantic gestures and deeply personal music becoming defining elements of that era. And as these recollections resurfaced, fans were said to be revisiting moments that once symbolized an all-consuming kind of love, leading to renewed debates about whether such intensity could ever translate into something sustainable. And some voices highlighted that the volatility often associated with young relationships was amplified by fame, making every disagreement and reconciliation a public spectacle, while others insisted that those experiences should not be trivialized, as they reflected genuine emotions shaped by extraordinary circumstances. And as conversations continued, analysts observed that Justin's references to past mistakes appeared to focus more on decisions and external pressures rather than the individuals involved, pointing to instances of public struggles, media attention, and personal challenges that surrounded that period. And it was noted that Hailey's role entered the narrative as a shift rather than a replacement, with many describing her presence as marking a transition into a more intentional phase of life, where stability and shared values became central, and sources highlighted how their relationship developed alongside efforts to prioritize health, faith, and personal growth, elements that contrasted with the unpredictability of earlier years. And as this comparison gained traction, online reactions grew more polarized, with some users celebrating the evolution while others remained attached to the emotional weight of the past. And amid this, viewers were encouraged to stay updated with ongoing developments as the story continued to unfold in real time. And it was further reported that each new post or statement from Justin often reignited the same discussions, demonstrating how deeply embedded these narratives had become within fan culture. And as attention shifted back and forth between past and present, commentators remarked that the persistence of these debates revealed a broader pattern in how audiences engage with celebrity relationships, often holding on to earlier versions of stories even as the individuals involved move forward. And it was explained that Selena's role in this narrative remained significant not only because of the relationship itself, but because of the cultural impact it carried. During its peak, influencing music, media coverage, and fan perceptions on a global scale, while at the same time, updates on her current life and career suggested a trajectory focused on independence and personal growth, which added another layer to the ongoing discourse. And as these parallel narratives developed, observers pointed out that comparisons between past and present relationships often reflected the audience's own experiences and expectations, with many projecting their understanding of love, growth, and change onto the situation. And it was said that this tendency contributed to the intensity of reactions whenever new information emerged, as fans sought to reconcile earlier attachments with evolving realities. And midway through the discussion, viewers were briefly reminded to subscribe for more concise updates as the story continued to gain traction. And reports went on to describe how the resurfacing of older content, including interviews and performances, further fueled the conversation, providing context that both supported and challenged different interpretations. And as these materials circulated widely, they prompted renewed analysis of moments that had originally been viewed through a different lens, highlighting how perspectives can shift over time. And it was noted that Justin's reflections on his journey often emphasized lessons learned and personal development, which many saw as a natural progression rather than a contradiction of his past, while others continued to scrutinize his words for deeper implications. And as the narrative expanded, commentators suggested that the ongoing focus on choosing between different chapters overlooked the possibility that multiple experiences could coexist as meaningful parts of a single story. And it was repeatedly emphasized that growth often involves moving through various stages rather than replacing one with another. And as the conversation approached its later stages, observers highlighted that the enduring fascination with this narrative stemmed from its relatability, as many people see reflections of their own relationships and personal growth within it. And before concluding, viewers were once again encouraged to subscribe for further updates, as discussions showed no signs of slowing down. And reports ultimately framed the situation as an example of how public figures navigate personal histories under constant observation, with each statement or action contributing to an evolving narrative that audiences continue to interpret in different ways. And as the story moved forward, it became clear that while debates would likely persist, the individuals at the center were continuing to define their own paths, leaving the audience to grapple with the balance between past attachments and present realities. And it was concluded that the intersection of memory, growth, and public perception would remain a driving force behind the ongoing interest in this story, ensuring that it continues to generate conversation across platforms for the foreseeable future.